Thank you, Stuart. It's really exciting to be with you all here today. Starting and developing careers in research is one of the most exciting things I think anybody can be engaged in. And coming with that is always having the support of colleagues and mentors. So we're going to talk a little bit today about finding a mentor, and I'd like to keep this informal. If you have questions or comments while we go along, please just raise your hand and we'll discuss these things. And of course, we'll have time for questions afterwards. So I always like, if you've seen any of my talks, I always like to start out with the history. So who knows who Mentor was? Obviously from this pictorial, he was somebody from a long time ago. So Mentor was the teacher of Telemachus. Telemachus was Ulysses or Odysseus's son, and he was left in charge of training and guiding and teaching Telemachus while Odysseus was out on his travels. So this character, this term mentor, has carried on throughout the ages. Now, this is the goddess Athena. Does anybody have any idea why Athena would be connected here in a story about mentorship? So as the story goes, when Athena came to Earth during part of the time, she disguised herself as Mentor and was, in fact, guiding and teaching Telemachus, just as was the original Mentor. And to me, this is very significant that in our very basic cultural consciousness and stories throughout the years, that women have had such an integral role with mentorship just as have men. And that's, I think, a very, very important part of our mentorship story and tradition. So many times I do have people every now and then say, well, why do I need a mentor? I mean, can't I just figure things out myself and do things? And there's actually just a plethora of data that shows that whether you're a faculty member or you're a graduate student or whatever level you are at, people advance much more rapidly if they have a mentor. And this has been shown in the faculty setting to be maybe the most important factor in faculty career growth and satisfaction. And our own survey has shown that that inadequate mentorship is one of the most highly important variables causing our faculty members to be dissatisfied with their careers. So a very important part of our careers is to have a mentor. And what are the goals of our mentorship? I like this one, no matter what the career stage, is to move the mentoree to the next career stage while maintaining professional career engagement, a sense of achievement, and personal and professional balance. And so whether it's a research mentor or an overall mentor, as we'll mention, this is one of the major goals of a good mentoring relationship. Now, mentors come in many different forms. We talk about content mentors that provide key areas of information. And when we talk about research mentors, in some ways we may be talking about a content mentor, somebody who's helping you know what area you should develop in your career, what techniques you should learn, what's the next experiment you should do. And then we'll talk a little bit later about career mentors who provide guidance for your career development and decisions. You may have a life mentor who will help you identify different aspects of your personal and professional life balance. It's also important that co-mentorship or peer mentorship is very important. People at the same career stage can help inform each other and give advice and share information. And sometimes we forget that, but this is a very important part of mentorship. And then sort of the primary mentor, which is the person who puts things all together and maybe is also what we would call the career mentor, engages with the protege in synthesizing the advice, guidance provided by all the other mentors to arrive at an effective pathway for professional and personal development. So your research mentor may be the person telling you, well, this is the experiment you should do, this is how you should go forward with your research. But your primary mentor or career mentor is going to help put all these things together. Well, if you're going to do this, how do you balance that with your other obligations? And who can we connect you with in addition to make this even more effective and give you lots and lots of advice. And hopefully, I mean, the ideal really is to have mentorship teams with maybe a primary mentor and additional mentors. And hopefully, the ideal is they all get together and talk and give advice so that you get an integrated picture of what you should do. So how do you find a research mentor? Well, the first and most important role in choosing a mentor is knowing what you want to do. Know what your career is about and know as much as you can about the potential mentor's career. So you really, before you approach someone as their research mentor, as a research mentor, need to understand what exactly am I going to try to accomplish in my career? What are my goals? And so one of the things, and you can find this as a resource on our, Stuart mentioned the FAME Center. You can find many of these resources on our website, and if you just search OSU FAME, we come up, although Google irritates me a little bit. Sometimes it says, did you mean OSU game? Like that's really all we do here at Ohio State. Now, we actually do some other things. So just tell it, yes, I mean FAME. And you'll see some resources to identify what is your professional mission statement. What do you really value? What does your organization value? What can you share with a potential mentor? And looking at this professional mission statement, it's something to revisit often once you've created it, and maybe even post in your office. So once you have kind of developed that, then you can address your visions and your goals and enact your plan. And we'll come back to this in a minute because helping to work out your professional mission statement is something you want to do with a career mentor. And this is one of the resources we have on the FAME website telling you how to go through the steps in refining what your personal mission statement is. So knowing yourself is so critical in what you want to do to effectively attract a mentor. So I do a lot of work in heart rate variability, so I'm just going to use this as an example. So if as a potential mentee you walk in and just say, I'm interested in heart rate variability, what's a potential mentor going to be thinking? Well, they're going to be thinking, wow, that's pretty vague. It's going to take me a long time to help this person figure out what they really want to do. It will take me a lot of time to train them. I'm not sure I really have the time to do that. And so, you know, your chances of having a very effective discussion and getting a mentor are kind of diminished. But look at this scenario. The potential mentee says, I am developing a career investigating the autonomic control mechanisms governing vascular response to pharmacologic interventions in patients with heart failure, not hear failure, sorry about that, and using heart rate variability as a tool in these investigations. Now think what a potential research mentor would think. Wow, this person has great focus. They've really thought about their career and goals. They fit right into my program, and they know what I do and what I want to do, and I can help them, and they will contribute to my program. So really doing your homework, knowing what you want to do, what you want to pursue, is critical to attracting a good mentor. The best mentoring relationships are symbiotic. The mentoree grows, but actually the mentor grows. When there is a really good mentoring relationship, then both parties are really enriched. And that's been shown, at least in the business sector, that it's true that in business, somebody who has a good mentor and is mentored has greater compensation and is more often retained in their field. But it's also shown that the compensation goes up for mentors and they are retained more often. So mentors really are looking for a great relationship that is going to grow and fulfill their career. And I can tell you, as a mentor, what is most exciting is to have a mentoree who comes in with ideas, new things they're thinking about, actually challenging me as a mentor to grow myself, as well as me challenging the mentoree. And it's a great and fulfilling relationship. So keep in mind that you want to be able to attract the mentor by what you have to offer. Now, how do we go about finding them, especially at a big campus like Ohio State? Well, we used to subscribe to a nice system called SciVal Experts, and on SciVal Experts, you could type in a topic area, and it would list every publication in that area throughout the whole university. So you could set about looking for people that you might want to collaborate with or could be your mentor. And we'll mention in a minute, there is another resource called ResearchGate that helps with this also. But there is a nice workaround just using PubMed. So again, we'll look at my area of interest, heart rate variability. And if you put in the search and, in quotations, The Ohio State University, and then brackets, affiliation, or if you want a nice shorter way to do it, AD, D as in David also works, you get this. You get now a list of 126 papers that have been written about heart rate variability, but in which at least one author is at The Ohio State University. So you can begin your quest for a research mentor in this topic this way. So let's say we look through all of these papers and we find one that really seems to resonate with what we're interested in. And let's say it's this one, Genetic Loci Associated with Heart Rate Variability and Their Effects on Cardiac Disease Risk. Now this is interesting to me, but also is a good illustration because look at all the authors there. How are you going to figure out which one of those or more than one from The Ohio State University? So this is where you can go back and there's an author information tab here. And you simply click the author information tab. And again, you get a large list of authors, but if you just use a search, just go Control F and put in Ohio, we see here that it's outlined somebody from the Department of Psychology at The Ohio State University, and that was author number 34. And we go up to author 34, and that was a person named Thayer, JT. Anybody know Julian Thayer by any chance? Okay. I'll tell you a little bit more about him. He's a fascinating person. But anyway, then you can just click on the author, and now you get a whole list of 283 papers that Julian Thayer has written. And so you start getting an idea of who this person is, what they write about. They're here at Ohio State University. We've learned that they're in the Department of Psychology. And then, of course, we can just go back and Google Julian Thayer, OSU. And there is Julian Thayer, and he's interested in emotions and quantitative psychophysiology. You've got his room address, his email address, his telephone number, so now you have a way to get in contact with a potential research mentor in your area because he's publishing just in the areas you're interested in. And again, you can go back. I mentioned that there is something called ResearchGate. This is sort of like maybe a LinkedIn for researchers. You can sign up. It's free. You can see here you can get updates on what Julian Thayer is writing. You can connect with Julian and other researchers in that area. And is a very, so has anybody here signed up for ResearchGate in the past? Okay, good. You find it useful? Good, okay, good. Thanks for saying yes, I appreciate that. Okay, so good. So, and it is now, so the major message here is do your homework. Read the potential mentors' papers, read about their labs, look at information on the web, go to the NIH Reporter and see what their record of funding is. What have they been funded to do? What are their programs? And as a side note, this is a really effective thing to do if you, say, have the opportunity to meet with a visiting professor. Maybe you're going to get to pick them up at the airport or drive them to dinner or even have a personal meeting with them. Take the time to do the homework on those people so you can understand what it is you want to talk with them about, how you want to learn from them. Everybody likes talking about themselves, so if you can bring up things that will tell them that you're interested in them and bring them out. So really learn about these things. Get help. So I'll tell you, Julian Thayer is a fascinating person. I got to interview him several years ago when he applied to be an eminent scholar in psychology. And I was going through his CV, and there was about a 3-year gap where nothing was listed. So you learn over time when you see those gaps, something interesting you hope it's interesting, was going on. So I said to him, gee, there are these 3 years you don't have anything listed. And he said, yeah, that's when I was at Juilliard. And it turns out Julian Thayer is an excellent bass player and was working on becoming a professional bassist, and then got interested in psychology. And you can see that's where a lot of his work has to do with how do we respond physiologically as well as emotionally to music. And really fascinating person. The way this ties to finding a mentor is that he still plays bass professionally as well as being a faculty member and travels around the world a lot with his group. So sometimes it's useful to have a senior faculty member not only give you advice, but you may need to have them give you a leg up with a really busy faculty member, that, a senior person who knows this individual, an email or a call saying, I'm talking to this faculty or student, and they really seem to have an interest that's right down the line of your field. Would you mind meeting with them and talking with them and possibly thinking about being one of their mentors or mentoring them? So don't be afraid to go to us older people. That's what we're here for, to help you as faculty. That's one of our 4 senior faculty. That's really what we are very devoted to doing. So don't be, every now and then I had somebody, Heather Broad, who works with me in the FAME program, was talking to somebody, and she said, well, you should talk to Dr. Binkley about that. And the person said, you mean Dr. Binkley would actually talk to me? And I was kind of taken back by that. I mean, that's what I'm here for. So don't be afraid to go talk to more senior people. Don't be discouraged if a potential mentor says no. The truly best mentors will not take on more students or faculty than they can effectively mentor. Actually, there was an interesting kind of humorous article, I think it was in JAMA, just recently about mentorship gone wrong and wrong kinds of mentors. And people talk about predatory mentors, mentors who will take anybody in because they want somebody to do their work and not really develop them. So those obviously are not the kind of mentors you want. So they may feel that, I really like what you're doing, but I have to be honest. I can only mentor so many people, and you have to respect that and respect their honesty. They may feel that really you're not a good match, but nevertheless, when you have a meeting with them, take the opportunity to still get some career advice. Well, could you tell me what you think I should do about this, and just spend a few minutes, if you have the opportunity, to try to get some advice, and ask if they have other recommendations for people that they would recommend who might mentor you. So even if they say no, don't be discouraged. Take advantage of the opportunity you've had to meet with them. So let's talk a little bit about the career mentor. And as I said, the career mentor really engages with the protege in synthesizing the advice and guidance provided by all other mentors to arrive at the most effective pathway. And of course, this is a critically important individual to identify in your career as well. So how do you choose an effective mentor? Well, first of all, many studies have shown that it really is an active process. Just assigning mentors does not really seem to be very effective in helping develop a good mentoring relationship. It usually requires that you talk and, in essence, interview potential mentors. And again, it goes back to understanding what you want. I think one great example is find someone who's having a career like the one you think you'd like to have. And that's probably a person that's going to be a good career mentor. So it takes some looking around. Somebody who has similar values to you, and your communication styles resonate, maybe even a similar lifestyle, and who seems enthusiastic about you and your ability. And it goes both ways. Sometimes mentors will see somebody who looks like a great fit for them, and they'll actually talk to you about being a mentor. But in our FAME program for new faculty, we really don't expect anybody to develop a mentor relationship for at least 6 months after they've joined the faculty, because it does take some time to just find that right person that's going to work for you. What are the things you want to look for in a career mentor? Well, we've done surveys on this and focus groups on both mentorees and the mentors. Hands down, honesty is the thing you want most frequently stated as the characteristic that people want in a good mentor. They want to be honest in what they can provide, and they need to be able to honestly assess the mentee's progress, areas of improvement, and assessment of their overall career. So being honest about these things is critically important. They also should be open. So I mentioned to you that I'm really excited by having a mentoree tell me that what ideas they have, but also they have to be able to regulate the ideas to be realistic, to be something that can be actually achieved. And they have to be open to the mentee getting advice from somebody else. So this can't be a situation where the mentor is offended because you went and asked somebody else for advice or asked to get other advice. Their primary goal has to be their interest in your career. They obviously have to be willing and able to commit the time and meeting at regular intervals, and also to be able to be flexible to meet you when there are urgent issues. So that's why it's not possible for people to mentor a whole lot. I mean, seriously mentor, because it requires a commitment of time. My mentor told me, and maybe this is a little extreme, but he said your mentor is the person that when you walk in the door with a problem, they drop everything else to help you. And my mentor was actually that way, and then the really best mentors do that. They provide formative feedback, not summative or evaluative feedback, but really give you good guidance in the areas, what are you doing well, what should you do better. They have an ongoing and directive way to look at things. That's why there's a lot of conflict, whether if you're in the faculty level, whether your mentor should really be on a promotion and tenure committee, because promotion and tenure committees are making evaluative feedback that you really want your mentor to be doing formative feedback. The best mentors in all sorts surveys have showed that they're inspirational. So you want to look for somebody who really inspires you to be better and to do better in your career. So again, that's like finding that person who has a career like your career. Find somebody who really inspires you to be your best. And they foster independence. So the goal of the mentor, the career mentor, is to ultimately move their mentoree to independence. And sometimes that's a difficult thing. It's sort of interesting as I've observed relationships over the years. It's almost like a parent-child relationship, that the mentoree grows up under the mentor and then starts developing more independence. And sometimes the mentor isn't tremendously comfortable with that, changing the kind of relationship. I've seen there be conflicts as a result of this. Ideally, I think the best mentors are happy when they actually see their mentorees becoming better than they are. So if you can find that kind of person, that's really ideal. That's very rewarding. But we had in one of our CTSA training sessions on mentoring, one of the questions was, well, how do you know that your mentoree has been successful? And my take was, your mentoree is successful when they come to you and ask you for advice, but then they go and do something else. So I think if that happens late enough in the career, because that means they're starting to foster independence. They value the mentors they've gone on, but now are getting the independence to do their own things. What we in FAME, this is another resource that we have, is the individual career development plan. And this is something that when you choose a mentor, you should choose a mentor that can help you develop this. How is your career going to unfold over the next 5 years? And it's really important to do this. Again, this is data-driven. There are studies that show that people who make out a defined career plan with goals each year that are to be achieved have more successful careers and advance more rapidly. So this is a very important tool. It's important that you first work this out by yourself because, again, mentoring and the mentorship relationships are an active process. And after you've done that, then refine it with the mentor and get this 5-year plan for how your career will evolve. So how are other ways you actually find such a career mentor? Well, if you are in the faculty, FAME has a very active mentorship program which helps identify mentors, good mentorship relationships for all of our faculty. The CCTS has a number of ways to identify mentors. Again, talk with senior faculty. I have a lot of people who meet with me. One of the advantages of being here forever is that I know a lot of people, I know the landscape, and I can usually put people in touch with somebody that may be in your interest area. Again, you will likely want to look at more than one career mentor to see who's the best. And again, as I mentioned earlier, having mentorship teams, often 2 to 3 mentors of different types, if you can put them together, is really ideal so that you're getting information from lots of different perspectives. So that's kind of an introduction to finding your mentor and what mentoring is all about. As you can see in this slide, it involves a lot of things that help your career, but it's really critical that you find the right mentors to make sure that you have your own career success. So with that, I'll open it up to questions and comments that you have about mentoring. So how many of you have a mentor? So a lot of you, would you say they're a research mentor or are they a career mentor? How would you classify them? What is yours? Is yours more content or career? Or?
She helps both clinical and research.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what is your area? I'm sorry, I don't know everybody.
Oh, sorry, I'm a GI pathologist. My mentor is Dr.
Oh, okay, so just kind of repeating things, I'm sorry. So we're just having discussion, so we have a faculty member here who's a GI pathologist and has a couple of mentors, and how did you happen to find those mentors?
So she was also my fellowship director.
Okay, so one of the mentors started out as the fellowship director, and then that came along. So apparently you developed some, resonated with the director and wanted to continue. So somebody else who said they had a mentor. Who else do we have? Did you say you had a mentor? Yes. So who are you? What kind of mentor do you have? How would you classify them? Or mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so his mentor is actually his director of his division, and they have similar research interests. And do you get other advice from him, or is it purely more in the professional domain? Get other. Okay. Great. So, so a lot of times things do overlap once you develop a very focused, sometimes a content mentor does grow on to be more of a career mentor as well. And you may discover that through your working on a specific area, you may actually grow into different interest areas. Great. So any other questions about finding a mentor, what a mentor should be? So I'd encourage you to, again, look at the FAME website for mentorship resources, work with the CCTS, which does a lot of work with mentorship, and again, don't hesitate to get help from older people who can help you with this process as well. So good luck to all of you.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about NIHK grants, mentored career development grants, and putting together teams for those and the value of those kind of grants?
That's a good point, Stuart. Yes, really, it's hard these days to actually be successful with a K award, say a special, well, either a K08 or K23, without having a mentorship team. They really now look for mentorship teams. I think in the earlier history of, say, the K23s, you might have been able to get by with maybe just one major career, one mentor in the grant, but now, and looking at the review process, they really like seeing a team of mentors, just as we were talking about, who can give you perspectives, say, on the clinical aspects of your project, the basic science aspects, other aspects. So, so that's really going to be critically important if you are going to submit a K award. So if you don't have a team like that, hopefully you're working with your mentor in putting that application together, and then you need to have a discussion about who is going to be on your team to really make this a strong project and grow your career. So that's a really good point. Okay. Well, thank you very much again. Good luck to everybody, and we'll see you later.